why are you seeing me on this new channel? I've lost my YouTube channel, so I am working to get back to the grind. So if you're following the old channel at KingDVSports, please follow this channel, subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and do those good things. I'm trying to get back monetized and get back to the swing of things a little bit. I know I've been going for a little bit, but I'm back and I'm trying to, get back to the swing of things. It's going to be live. I'm going to go live on certain days again. I will be posting in my community, things like that. So I know that it's going to take a lot more from me to get back to where I was. But please do me a solid. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you were subscribed before, or if you're a newcomer and you're just liking my thoughts. To my surprise, it was a presser yesterday with Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman, and there was a couple questions that was asked. Of course, they asked about how the Tavian Wicks trade affects the AJ Brown situation. Also, they tried to ask it in multiple different ways, and Howie Roseman got agitated. And we already knew that he wasn't going to answer the question head on. He's just going to keep saying that AJ Brown was an Eagle. They're not going to show their cards. What they're going to try to do are things that's in the works already. We don't know what's going on. After the whole Diana Rossini and Mike Rabel situation, and Diana Rossini actually sat up there and quit before she got fired in August, tells the story. It tells the story. Maybe the Eagles get a pick out of it. We don't know. But, we will be reporting on it. But at the same time, and he did ask him, I want to get to the Jalen Hurts situation, right? Because it was reports all this time that, Eagles content creators were actually, sitting up there vouching for Jalen Hurts and things like that. I will say this, before I even read the quote, that I feel like the Eagles situation is a hot fucking mess. And I think that the Eagles need to get the shit together. They need to get it together because I do not like it. I don't like it at all because Jalen Hurts was just almost 2 years removed from Super Bowl MVP, winning the Super Bowl for the city. And Jeff Lurie is just on a podium talking about Jalen Hurts. And now we got this whole situation with Howie Roseman says this. Now, let me read it before I give my opinion. So, Howie Roseman basically said, they asked Howie Roseman, I should say. They asked him, since the last time we talked, there's been a few articles and a lot of reporting on Jalen Hurts and how the organization might view him. I was wondering, since you don't live under a rock, if you had any comment on where Jalen stands with the team. This was a straightforward question. A lot of people said that it had to be more of a direct question for them to answer it. That was a direct question. And this is what Howie Roseman had to say. Howie Roseman never answered the question. It left more questions that needed to be asked. With his answer, he basically is saying that it's unfair. It's unfair to who? It's unfair to the fans. It's unfair to Jalen Hurts. It's unfair to the organization, basically knowing that this guy can win ball games and how much that us as Eagles fans and Eagles content creators vouch for this guy. This guy has done nothing in his starting position with the Philadelphia Eagles but win. Now, what is the real objective here? Like, I just don't understand it. But I start thinking. I'm like, what if we keep going at 94.1 WIP? We keep going towards them. But what if the contract is that, the Eagles got to feed them some type of news and we have a whistleblower inside the organization? We said it was Kevin Patullo and all that. Maybe it wasn't Kevin Patullo. Maybe the whistleblower is still in there. Back in 2022, when we won the NFC Championship, Jalen Hurts basically said, hey, nobody really wanted me here. Right? So it goes back that far. It's not just this year. 1, 2. Now Jalen Hurts is juggling AJ Brown situation, juggling Nick Sirianni situation, different offensive coordinators, and he's still prevalent, still being successful. So how can you sit up there as an NFL fan, and you don't even gotta like the Eagles, but as an NFL fan, have hatred towards this quarterback, I don't understand. But the reports is going to be the reports because people are going to click on it. Jalen Hurts is the face. He's the face of the NFL because he's sitting up there getting the most traction. Think about it. It was more Jalen Hurts posts than the Seattle Seahawks, who are the reigning Super Bowl champions. It's more comments about that than about Jalen Hurts than the Super Bowl champions. It's ridiculous at this point. It's ridiculous at this point. And then also, all three of these guys are down on the same page about Jalen Hurts is mind-boggling. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. And I'm tired of it. Like, Howie Roseman has to be behind Jalen Hurts. Behind Jalen Hurts, because what he did here, honestly, because remember, it was the report basically saying that Jalen Hurts, the Eagles didn't believe in Jalen Hurts because he didn't get offered an extension. Of course, they didn't say the same thing about Joe Burrow. They didn't say the same thing about Justin Herbert. You know, I could be redundant on that. But at the same time, this statement that he put out there yesterday is not doing nothing but making those negative reports about your QB1, your quarterback, your leader of your team. It's ridiculous. And then you got to dig deeper into it. What's really causing this whole traction of this quarterback that's successful, not in the news for anything negative, clean cut, go to work, do whatever it takes to win, put his team on his back, step back to let somebody else perform like Saquon Barkley, juggling all types of emotions and things like that. He basically sat up there and told his manager, hey, get me paid, but I don't want to take money from my guys. He got AJ Brown paid. He got Devontae Smith paid. You know what I'm saying? He did certain things. So what is the hatred in the locker room or in this organization towards this guy? But the obvious. Think about it. They talk about Jalen Hurts. They talk about, now Lamar Jackson don't have any excuse now. He has a defense. He has a little roster now. He has a better roster, so he has no excuse. So I know y'all see where I'm getting at. You know, you got the Donovan McNabb that came at Randall Cunningham. They came at Michael Vick when he was here. You know, on the whole situation. We already know how this goes for black quarterbacks. Black quarterbacks don't stand a chance against the media because the media is not like us. The media is not like us. And us as Eagles content creators, regardless of your color or your race, we sit up here and we fight for guys that we know that can win football games. We know that we believe in. Jalen Hurts has a credible story. But no, every time he hits a pinnacle to the point, not even a pinnacle, but he hits some type of standard, whereas though, he can't win in the playoffs. He wins in the playoffs. He has a better record than other quarterbacks that they deem is better than him. Then he wins two NFC championships. He can't win the Super Bowl. He gets to the Super Bowl. He outperformed Patrick Mahomes the first time, and now he's the talk. He's the talk because he had a better performance than the Patrick Mahomes. But since we lost, then it was like, okay, well, we're going to give him positive feedback. But since we won in 2024, now it's a situation where but he can't do it without Saquon Barkley. He can't do it. He did it with Miles Sanders. He went to the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders. He won an NFC championship with Miles Sanders. And I hate the people that sit up there and say things like, it's a team sport. He wouldn't have did it without that defense and all that. I know great defenses that didn't have a quarterback that couldn't get them to a touchdown. Basically at the 50-yard line. At the 50-yard line, say if we got an interception, that quarterback wouldn't have been able to do any of those things. And the reports talking about Jalen Hurts sitting up there, did the 4 verts and all that type stuff. You know how many times Jalen Hurts probably changed the play, did certain things. We talk about the end of the year. Just say, hypothetically speaking, if that's correct, right? Hypothetically speaking, if that's correct, that he changed the play to 4 verts. Hypothetically speaking, that's what it was, right? We got to die on that sword as Eagles fans because we can't do that. But we clearly saw in the Rams game earlier in the year, last year, that he was basically taking control of the offense, and we basically came back and won. So we can't glorify him for that. But then said, oh, well, he didn't do this in the third. Like, no, because we're falling right into the trap of the 94.1 WIP that's against him already. We've fallen trap to whoever in the organization did not want him here, which is crazy because all he did was win. All he does is win. All he does is win. He had to deal with all these egos, different offensive coordinators, and injury to the offensive line, an egotistical wide receiver in AJ Brown, regardless of how cool they were before or not. He had to deal with that as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't realize how difficult it is to be a quarterback, especially of my skin color in the NFL. Nobody understands that. But here we are. We're sitting up there listening to Howie Roseman basically just watering all over the dam this whole situation, saying we're going to talk to the player and that this guy is somebody that y'all believed in after the 2023 season, and that was an awful season. That was the debacle at the tail end of the season, and y'all decided to pay him then. Y'all decided to pay him. So I don't understand. I just don't understand the whole logic of why is so much hatred towards Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does nothing but win. Jalen Hurts put the team behind his back. Jalen Hurts is team first. He's a leader, and guys want to play with him. Guys want to play with him. Saquon Barkley could have easily went to another team. The Cowboys called Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley was like, "Hey, we got Jalen Hurts, we got AJ Brown, we got Devontae Smith." Da, 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 da. So what is really the excuse? But that he's a black successful quarterback in the NFL, and y'all don't like it. And that's just me being honest. That's just me being honest, because it's ridiculous at this point where now you got the GM backtracking. Because I don't even know if Howie Roseman got the full story. I don't know if Howie Roseman is in agreement. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to get to the bottom of this, because we cannot have our leader rattled to the point where now he's even requested a trade. He's doing certain things where he knows that he's not in control. And there was plenty of times when Jalen Hurts sat up there and was like, "Hey, I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm just doing what I'm coached to do, or told to do." It was plenty of times that he went through that whole situation, but at the same time, great responsibility was he sat up there and managed it well. He managed it well, man. You know, with the Saquon Barkleys and the Devontae Smith, even though Devontae Smith actually had a comment that I didn't like, because he's one that just, go to work, don't really say nothing, but the passing game was awful. And the passing game has been awful for the past couple of seasons. I'm not going to lie, to our standards. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that it could have been a lot more better, a lot more better, way better than what it was. It could have been. And that's due to coaching, because now you got Jalen Hurts into this puppet mode, whereas though Jalen Hurts you got to take the shackles off. Do we need to see Nino Brown, Jalen Hurts again with the black Kango and the black vest? Is that what y'all wanted to see? We need to see that again? Do we need to see that again? I don't want to keep going on this rant, but at the same time, y'all know what I'm saying. I will be sitting up there talking about it a lot more on my live streams. Please like, comment, subscribe. I do want to touch base on Howie Roseman talking about the Octavian Vick. I do want to touch on the Howie Roseman response to the Octavian Wicks and Nick Sirianni. They basically were just saying that he's been on a radar, and it had nothing to do with Charmaine being here. That's just basically like the icing on the cake at this point. But this is what they had to say. Now, the Octavian Wicks has a lot of upside to him. I've seen that they brought in a lot of wide receivers in the top 30 visits, but this trade, especially with the extension, even though the extension was wrong, a lot of people thought that the second year he was going to get paid $12 million, but it's it's kind of like a 2-year deal, 12.7 something like that million. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. That's basically what it is with Octavian Wicks. Now, I don't know how it is with the wide receiver room, but I knew it was going to change once we hired Charmaine, because we have to have that wide receiver depth. We have to, not to say that AJ Brown or Devontae Smith is going to be banged up or anything like that, but we really got to be prepared. So who's to say that we don't keep all these guys, the Hollywood Browns, the Elijah Moores, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of guys is probably going to be on the outs, like the Darius Coopers or the Quez Watkins, or I don't even know about Johnny Wilson at this point. I know he's been hurt, but I don't even know about him. But stay tuned for the wide receiver room, and that's one room that I am solidified with. He did talk about also the safety room, and he was saying that the one thing that he's mad about with himself is that he went with what was needed and not like the best player available that can actually help the team. Like, and I'm just paraphrasing. Another thing that he was asked is about the safety room, and I feel like that the safety room needs a lot of work. We can't go in there with Marcus Epps and Makumba and these other guys. I think that they're going to convert Michael Carter the second or the third, whatever. Another thing that he was asked about. No. Another thing Howie Roseman was asked about was the safety room, and he was talking about it, saying that in the draft, that's a different entity. He did say that. He also said that he prefer not to go early in the draft for the safety, but if it's there, it's there, and if it's a need that we need, and the best player available is there, then that's what it is. I am not comfortable with the room that we have now. Marcus Epps is more like a depth piece. Andrew Makuba, you don't know what he's going to be off of injury. Also, you have Michael Carter that could actually be converted into a safety. We don't know what the plans is there, what Vic has planned or anything like that. So we don't really know. It's a lot of questions going into this season. We could talk about who we have and things like that, but at the end of the day, we lost some pieces, man. We lost Christian Parker, we lost Jeff Stoutland, and everything like that. So a lot of people are talking about the wide receiver room. We talking about the safety room, the edge, and everything like that. And a lot of mock drafts that I saw, they were basically taking an offensive lineman first, and I'm like, we don't know about this new offensive line and run game coach. We don't know what he could do. Last I checked, of course, the Vikings offensive line was banged up, but last time I checked, this guy don't really have the resume of a Jeff Stoutland. So we shall see. We shall see how that goes on. But that's all I got right now, man. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications. I will be recording a lot more on this channel. So please, I did lose my channel. If you got this far, I did lose my channel. So I am trying to get back. Please support the channel. Support King DV. King DV out. Fly Eagles fly.